In this video we are going to talk about managing services on Linux. And before we begin, I just want to mention that the code and the presentation that you see in this video is uploaded to my GitHub page, and you have the link in the description. And if the video is useful for you, then please take some time to like it, and if you want to see more, then also consider subscribing to my channel. So let's see what services are. If you are used to Windows operating systems, you should have an idea. On Linux, services are also called daemons, so you may find them also with this name in different blogs or sites. And they are programs that run in the background, and usually they are set to start when the operating system also starts up. On Linux, the system and also the services are managed by something called systemd. And systemd itself is managed by us using the systemctl command. So this is what you will use to interact with services on Linux. One important thing to know about services is if they are running or what their status is. And a service that is configured to start when the operating system also starts is an enabled service. Otherwise, that service is disabled. If a service is enabled, then when the OS starts, the service also starts up, so its state should be active. If a service is stopped, then it is inactive. And here is a screenshot of how the status of a service looks. You see in green that the service is running or is active, and we can see right here that this service is enabled. So it will start when the OS starts up. Okay, so let's start working with services. First, let's install the Apache web server so we have a test service to try the commands on. And we talked about apt and apt-get in the previous video in this series. You can go and watch it if you want. Let's install Apache. And now that we have a test service to try our commands on, let's begin. First, I want to show you how to list all the services that you have on your system. And this is done with systemctl list units, and we want to list only the units that are of type service. And here is the list. You can press space to continue scrolling the page, or press Q and you exit. Now let me show you also all the services that have the state running, because maybe those are more interesting to you. And now you only get the services that are running at this moment. And you see the list is a lot smaller now. Okay, so let's start by checking different parameters of our service. For example, with the following command, we can see if the service is active or not. So systemctl is active and the service name, and if you get active, then the service will start when the OS starts up. We can also check if the service is enabled, and you see that it is enabled. Now let's disable it. Okay, so we disable the service. Now if we run the previous command, you see that it tells us that the service is disabled. Let's enable it again. With the systemctl start and service name, you can start the service. Of course, for all of these you need sudo because you are manipulating operating system data. Now the service is started. You can also restart the service. So if it's started and you want to restart it, you just use the systemctl restart command. But there's also another cool way that you can reload a service configuration without restarting the service itself, and this is done with systemctl reload. The catch is that not all services support the reload functionality, so you have to know, in this case, if this service supports it or not. Apache 2 supports it, so you can run this command and the service will read again all of its configuration files without restarting. Now we also have a very cool command that solves the problem of knowing if a service supports reload or not, and this is using systemctl reload or restart. The system will check if the service supports reload, and if it doesn't, then it will restart it. If it does, then it will reload the configuration. And yeah, this is the command. One last command that I want to show you is the systemctl status and the service name command, and this shows you some cool information. For example, it shows you if the service is enabled, it shows you its current status, which in this case is running, and it also shows you the amount of time that it has been running. It shows you the process ID, the primary process ID, the number of tasks that this process has, the amount of RAM that it consumes, and it also shows you events that are generated by this service, like the time that we reloaded the service or when we started it, and so on. And you can press Q to exit that prompt. And that was it for managing services on Linux. It's not too difficult, just a couple of commands. If you enjoyed the video, please like it, and I'll see you in the next one.